All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and here we go again with Lion Comrade Kamala Harris. Ain't it something that she wanted to debate Donald Trump again at CNN, and Donald Trump declined to go to CNN, but she was by herself and still lost. I mean, this right here, this CNN town hall was a disaster. This woman couldn't answer any questions. Even Anderson Cooper had to call her out on some of the things, which shockingly surprised me. And she just kept giving word salad after word salad after word salad. Didn't answer any of the audience's question how she's going to bring down groceries. Just like she's been doing, referring everything back to Donald Trump. Every time they ask her a question, she bring up Donald Trump's name. Even CNN, Jake Tapper, like all of them was calling her out, say, look, she ain't answering any questions. She's dancing around everything. And it was just bad. I mean, this is what you call a wrecking ball. This was terrible. We're going to check out a few clips. But like I said, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That way y'all can stay up to date with everything that's going on. And please stay to the end with me. Like I said, we're going to try to get through this because the world need to see how bad this woman is. She is not fit to be president, and we have to get President Trump back in the White House. So like I said, the more y'all stay to the end, the more we can get this video out here so more people can get their eyes on how bad this woman really is, because we need 4 more years of Donald Trump and then 8 years of J.D. Vance. Let me know if you agree with that in the comment section. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years. You were vice president, not the president. But why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question. Mm-hmm. So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nerd isn't quite the word that comes to mind. Maybe something more like train wreck? Self-destructive? Suicidal? Kamala Harris gave what was perhaps her single most disastrous town hall yet last night, all for CNN's dwindling audience to see. We're going to look at some of the cringiest moments from that debacle, and we're going to get to the bottom of precisely why Kamala and the Democrats are imploding right before the world's very eyes. Greetings, everyone. It's I, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane. In these Week magazine put it, Kamala Harris experienced what they called a bruising town hall last night on CNN.
Bad.
CNN commentator David Urban put it this way: Kamala Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, it actually gets worse than that. Just before CNN went live with that town hall train wreck, an absolute bombshell dropped on the Kamala campaign. The latest, and I believe final, Wall Street Journal national poll dropped last night. It's Trump +3.
Let's go.
It's Trump with a +3 national lead. They have him winning the popular vote. By contrast, the Wall Street Journal's last poll for 2020 in the final week of October was Biden +10. It's now Trump +3, which, by the way, has lowered Kamala's lead in the RCP aggregate, the Real Clear Politics polling average, which averages out all the polls, the good, the bad, the ugly. And gang, look at this. Kamala's lead, which was inordinately influenced by all those pathetic pandering puff polls over the last 3 months. Look at this, gang. Her lead is now down to 0.2. 0.2. And
it's going to get worse
in
than
the
that.
polling aggregate. Again, by contrast, Biden, who only won by 40,000 votes, Biden at this time in 2020 was up in the aggregate by 8. Hillary, of course, went on to go down in flames. She was up at the same time by nearly 6. So the Harris campaign is fledgling, and you could see it with all these Hail Marys and jumping the shark antics that they've been engaged in the last 48 hours, all centering around Trump is Hitler meme that we talked about yesterday. And like we talked about yesterday, it's not working. The vast majority of the country simply refuses to believe that the guy waving at everyone from McDonald's drive-through window is the reincarnation of Hitler. And Anderson Cooper, to his credit, confronted Kamala on this last night. Check it out.
But there are tens of millions of Americans right now who have heard all those things and they don't buy it, or even if they do, they're still going to vote for Donald Trump. He's arguably more popular now than ever. You have 13 days to go. What do you say to those voters to convince them? Because some of them are in this room.
Sure, and I thank you all for taking the time to be here. And you could be doing a number of other things with your time. So this really is proof that we love our country. People are engaged, Anderson, and really want to talk about the issues. And so the issue that you raise, yes, I do believe that Donald Trump is unstable, increasingly unstable, and unfit to serve. And I don't necessarily think that everyone has heard what you and I have heard repeatedly.
Again, this is what Kamala does best. It's a non-answer. She doesn't.
He said, what are you going to do to try to convince the people? See, this woman, think about this. We got a man that admits, the man that want to put tampons in boys' bathrooms, he admits he a knucklehead. And now she just admitted she's a nerd. So we got a nerd and a knucklehead trying to run for office. This is bad. So we got a nerd and a knucklehead. Please put that in the comment section. We got a nerd and a knucklehead that's trying to run for office. This woman can't answer any question. Anderson Cooper even asked her, what can you say to these people to convince them to vote for you? It's 13 days left. Donald Trump is unstable. What? The same woman that covered Joe Biden. With him declining and stuff, and she covered that all up. The same crap Barack Obama is doing. Now he's going around talking about Donald Trump is too old. But Joe Biden was the one they just pushed out of office. I mean, now they done got to the point where this woman is literally calling this man Hitler. They got nothing. She can't run on how she's going to help the American people. She can't even run on that. How you beg Donald Trump to come to CNN to debate you, and you just lost, and you weren't even going against nobody, and you still lost. Didn't answer no questions. Even her own side called her out. CNN, MSNBC, everybody called her out. She didn't answer anything. Now they last resort. Let's just call Donald Trump Hitler. Let's just say he's a threat to democracy. Let's just say he's going to lock up the American people if he don't get his way. Just blatantly lies. This woman is a disaster, man.
Answer the question. Anderson Cooper is confronting her. Kamala, nobody's buying it. Nobody believes this crap. They don't. You've got to pivot. You got to find something else. And what does she do? She just doubles down on stupid. Speaking of doubling down on stupid, Anderson Cooper then brought up the issue of codifying Roe v. Wade into law, and the Senate filibuster came up. And I mean, take a look at this.
Let me ask you, you've talked about codifying Roe v. Wade. That would obviously require 60 votes in the Senate, a majority of the House. That's a big leap. We don't have that yet. If that's not possible to codify it in the House, what do you do?
I think we need to take a look at the filibuster, to be honest with you.
You heard it with your own ears.
This
Cooper
woman
asked her, if you can't codify it in the House, what are you going to do? And her answer was, well, I think we need to take a look at the filibuster.
This is bad.
Well, the filibuster gang, of course, has literally nothing to do with the House. You're not going to be able to pass this in the House. What are you going to do? I think we have to look at the filibuster. The filibuster is the Senate.
She is
The
slow.
filibuster's got nothing to do with the House. You would think that as a former senator, this borderline illiterate would at least know that.
This is bad.
So not only did she reaffirm her support for getting rid of the Senate filibuster, she voiced that radical far-left Marxist support by confusing the Senate with the House. But that's nothing compared to the flip-flop on the southern border, the embarrassing, pathetic, obvious flip-flop that, yes, flip-flop, I think it's a flip-flop. Flip-flop that, yes, is going viral online as we speak. Check it out.
Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances. I am not for a wall. They're not jumping over walls. So the idea that we're going to sell this thing to the American public and require the taxpayers of our country to pay $5 billion for something that will not deliver what he is suggesting we need is ridiculous, and I will not support it.
It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occurred.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it was...
He asked her, you see what she does? He asked her a question, and then she go right back to Donald Trump. Oh, well, I think what he did was stupid. He didn't ask you about Donald Trump. He asked you, is the wall still stupid? Because you said the wall was stupid back in 2019. Now you're trying to act like you can't remember. My God, this woman is terrible. Listen to this. He said, do you think the wall is stupid? And then she jumped straight to Donald Trump, just like she do everything else. Every single question goes right back to Donald Trump and her view. He ain't even asking you about Donald Trump. He asking, do you think the wall is stupid like you said in 2019? And look at this right here. Look at this.
$1 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occurred.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything.
You didn't even. Oh my!
I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Wow.
And in typical Kamala fashion, she just continued. I mean,
this is just, man.
She just continued to dig deeper and deeper.
I mean, you did raise your hand saying in a debate when asked if border crossing should be decriminalized, but obviously that is not your position.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be consequences, which is why part of my plan that I have outlined, and again, please go to KamalaHarris.com.
Ain't nobody going to no damn KamalaHarris.com. Why you didn't do it 3.5 years ago? If you had a plan, if you got a plan now, why didn't you implement that plan 3.5 years ago? It was so many illegal aliens that came across the border, probably I think over 20 million. And half of them that did horrible things to people. People done lost their kids because of you. And now all of a sudden you got a plan? This woman does not like the wall. You literally just heard her. And he said, you gonna build a wall? I just want to say border. Like this woman is I'm telling you. And I can't see how so many people is still falling for this woman lies. She's a fraud. She can't talk. She can't put two sentences together, just like Donald Trump said. And like I said now, everybody that interviews this woman, she just did an interview on NBC. She did the same thing. She pivoted everything back to Donald Trump. They ain't even asking her about Donald Trump. They're asking about the American people want to know about you, what you're going to do. And when she can't answer, she's just going to attack on Donald Trump. She just did a whole press conference calling this man Hitler, Mussolini, all that. Like, it's just crazy. She have nothing to run on, but just trying to call this man Hitler to think people gonna fall for it. Nobody want to hear all that name calling crap because you can't run on your policies and what you're gonna do to help the American people. So you think you're just gonna use 13 days just to call this man Hitler and think that's going to stop people from voting for him. Everybody know you lying. They know you just saying anything. Your own side is calling you out.
I'm sorry to throw a website on you, but why not? And you will see that part of my plan includes what we need to do to actually do more.
Man, forget your plan.
As it relates to putting resources in, including increasing penalties.
Yeah, Cackles obviously never learned the first rule when you're in a hole: stop digging. Here's CNN's Dana Bash.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard?
Oh,
maybe.
God.
But that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more. But what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one. You know, some more of her personality and her sort of character questions about your weaknesses or what mistakes did you make? Not necessarily the answers there.
In other words, it was a disaster. That's the closest thing that Dana Bash will admit to how much of a train wreck this town hall really was. With literally days before the election. Voters still have no freaking clue what the hell this Kamala campaign is actually all about. Why is she running in the first place? Well, I guess we all know that because...
And then another thing, this woman took 2 days off, no campaigns, no nothing. And now they trying to use Eminem. Now they putting Eminem up there. Now I'm hearing they finna bring out Beyonce, I think this week or next week. So now they trying to, you know, rely on celebrities to help her failing campaign. Ain't that something? Do y'all see Donald Trump don't really necessarily have to go get singers and get dancers, but that's all they've been doing the last couple of weeks. Smearing Donald Trump with lies, and now they bringing out Eminem, Beyonce, Lizzo. They just bringing out all these rappers. Usher, another person who was just on The View saying he don't really get into politics and he ain't gonna get into it. And then a week later, here go Usher. Talking about vote for... See, the problem is with some of these folks is you can't be on stage listening to people like Eminem, listening to people like Beyonce. These people are rich. You know what I'm saying? They are rich. No matter how high or low groceries, it doesn't affect them. We got to go by what affect us. We ain't rich. We don't have money like Beyonce. Beyonce don't stay in the hood. She stay in a mansion and she's a billionaire. Her and her husband is billionaires. So it don't matter what Kamala campaign do, it don't affect them. So that's why I be trying to tell people, you got to look at it from your point of view. I can't buy groceries. This stuff is too high. Donald Trump is your option. If you want to lower these groceries, lower house prices. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Stuff that's going to help people. We got to get President Trump back in the White House, and always remember, don't let these celebrities come on stage trying to tell you to vote for somebody, because like I said, at the end of the day, it don't affect them. No matter who get in office, it doesn't affect them because they are rich. They can buy whatever they want. We can't.
It was as senile as sand, but they have no clue how she's going to fix the economy. They have no clue how she's different from Biden. They have no clue how she's going to fix inflation. They have no clue how she's going to secure the border. They literally have no clue.
No clue at all.
Over what the hell this campaign is all about. And I think Christian Hines had a great comment on this that aligns very well with what we were talking about on one of yesterday's videos. He writes this, quote, "The competency crisis has gotten so bad that it's now negatively affecting the Democrat Party's ability to win elections. The world that bio-Leninism has created for itself is now overwhelming it. The left increasingly does not understand how to speak to any voter aside from affluent white female liberals." And you left out cat owning as well. Now, the bio-Leninism he's talking about there, that's a great term. That's the notion that inevitably Marxist coalitions will place at the top of the social hierarchy, the social pyramid, as society's leaders, basically society's misfits, for lack of a better term. In other words, whereas traditional Leninism promoted adherence through the ranks by virtue of their ideological fidelity to Marxism. Bio-Leninism promotes more on the basis of one's identity and one's resemblance to victim classes. And so Bio-Leninism inevitably ends up enthroning and enshrining as leaders those people whose lack of competence and skills render them most unlikely to assume leadership positions. And so Bio-Leninism inevitably suffers from a competency crisis, precisely because competency has been replaced by identity as the primary screening procedure for positions of leadership. And so what Christian is saying there, what he's recognizing, is that Kamala, being a perfect example of Bio-Leninism, represents a political class that's largely lost the competence to persuade.
Yep.
This is exactly what we talked about in yesterday's first video. This is why they're doubling down on stupid, on the completely implausible notion that Mr. McDonald's drive-thru is Hitler. The social world that Bio-Leninism built is simply imploding in on itself. Or as Christian put it, the left increasingly no longer understands how to speak to any voter aside from affluent
No voters at all.
Liberals. And that's exactly what CNN's dwindling audience saw on display in that disastrous and humiliating town hall.
So shout out to Dr. Steve Turley. But yeah, I mean, that was just a disaster. That was bad. Couldn't answer a question referring. Because even if you watch that whole interview, and I wasn't even finna react to the whole. Normally, I would react to a whole interview. Sometime I do. Only when they give pushback. But when they had them interviews where they interview her and they just let her say anything, no pushback, man, I ain't got time for that. Now, what Brett Baer did, that was very entertaining. And I don't mind reacting to that whole thing because I know it's gonna be pushback and not just letting her do these runoff sentences for 3-4 minutes to answer one question and not saying anything, just chewing up the clock. And that's what she liked to do. So like I said, y'all let me know what y'all think. Shout out to the ones who did stay to the end. I really, really appreciate it. But as y'all can see, man, this woman, I don't know what it is. Maybe Kamala be drunk all the time. She go to these town hall, this woman like she be drunk. She don't know where she's at. She don't know what she's doing. This was a disaster. So like I said, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.